Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
CEPA, Certified Exit Planning Accreditation.
Yep.
One question, worth it or scam? And I think I saw that somebody on here might be a CEPA, so I'm just curious. Recently encountered it, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good. Um, Certainly it's good to understand what's involved in exit planning. The CEPA certification, my understanding, because I don't have that one, but my understanding is you um, go to a course for a week and there's an exam at the end. And if you pass the exam, then you get your certification. I went a different route because I was more interested in the education than in the certification. So it really depends on your motivation. There is Business Enterprise Institute, BEI. If you go to exitplanning.com, they have they've got a good program in exit planning. It's a little harder to get your certification there. You've got to go through all their education. They've got about, I think, 120 hours of education, if I recall. And then you have to do 2 case studies and submit them. And they get graded. One is on an internal transfer, an internal sale, and one's an external sale. So third-party sale. So you have to do those case studies and do the exit plans for them and submit those. And then they grade them, and that's what determines what, if you pass, then you get your certification. So I would say it depends on whether you're looking for education or just certification as to what route you go. But both of them are good. Both the education is good. I think in this line of work, you never stop learning. There's always something more to learn, because if you truly want to be able to do a good job for your clients and be the advisor for your clients, I mean, you really need to have a very, very broad base of knowledge. You don't have to be the expert in everything, but you have to know that things exist, right? So, for example, let's say somebody has an S corp and they want to do a stock sale, but the buyer wants a step up in basis on all the assets because, let's say, there's a lot of machinery and equipment and things like that. So you can talk to them about, yes, that you can get a step up in basis under IRC code 338H10, I think. But you have to know that exists. You don't have to know how it works. But you do have to know it exists. And then you can say, hey, you need to have a chat with your CPA. Ask him, talk to him about what needs to be structured so that the buyer can get step up in basis. You as a seller are probably going to have to pay a little more tax in order to make that happen. So how do you negotiate that out? And you need both of them talking to their CPAs to make it work, because you're not gonna facilitate that for them, right? But you need to know it exists. And on the exit planning side, I think exit planning, certainly there are a lot of different aspects of it. And the more you learn surface information and who to direct them to get the details, the better off your clients are going to be. Because at the end of the day, it's not how much they sell their business for, it's how much they can keep in their pocket afterwards. Right. So you've got certain tax mitigation things that can be set up. There are a lot more options when you're starting 5 years in advance on the planning. There are certain things that can be done 5 to 7 years that, if they call you a year before they want to sell, and you're putting them on the market 3 months later or whatever, their options are going to be very limited in terms of what they can do at that point. So planning, sometimes using charitable charitable remainder trusts and things like that, where they can transfer the business into CRT, and there's just lots of different strategies, but you don't have to be the expert in all of them. But it does help if you have tools in the tool chest so that you can, refer them to certain advisors.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
I would say as a CEPA that unless you're a really strong collaborator and go out and get those, those other players in the other industries that are going to help in that it's going to be very difficult to do it. It's more like what Tanya was saying. It's more just understanding the process and maybe even just a little bit of realizing the psychology that a business owner is going to go through. And so information, is really king there. But I would say it's a lot of work doing the collaboration. And if you're already building that sphere of influence around your CPAs and your financial advisors and your attorneys, it could be a working model, but I found it to be a little bit difficult.
Yeah, and I think also it depends on the clientele that you are targeting, your target market. Like, I know that I was, with BEI, when I go to the conferences and things like that, a lot of they're targeting middle market, which I don't work a lot with middle market. I work lower middle market, but the exit plans they're talking about generally start at maybe 30,000 and go up from there. And a lot of the business owners that I work with, they're not going to pay 30,000 for an exit plan. So, and then I know some CEPAs that I've talked to in the past, and they were talking about their exit plans starting at 100 grand and going up from there. And so it really just, it depends on your target market. But the businesses I like working with and the business owners I like working with, I mean, those businesses typically have an enterprise value somewhere between 1 and 10 million. And so, that's kind of the market that I like. Can I sell something for less? Yes. Can I sell something for more? Yes. But that's really my target. So those people are not, for the most part, they're not going to pay 100 grand for an exit plan, or the majority of them aren't. Some will, maybe. And I just, that's not my focus. My focus is wanting them to be prepared, and I'll refer them to other people that can help them. And if I want to do exit planning, I generally am doing that in a different scale, a smaller scale, a 90-day exit plan type thing, as opposed to, a 6-month or 9-month or year-long engagement. I want the plan done and defined within 90 days so that we can get the implementation going, so that we can get the business on the market, 3 years, 5 years later, whatever, but they know what they need to do and they can do it so that they can achieve their goals. So a little bit different process.
Yeah,
I would say another challenge too is, even a business like in the size that Tanya's dealing with, that they already have their attorney, they already have their financial advisor, and their CPA firm. And unless you are working with those people already, for them to change to somebody new for that process is a difficult sell. They've built this trust and loyalty with those 3 advisors, and it's just difficult to get them to look at anybody else.
Yeah, very true, Matt.